The hot takes surrounding Rome Odunze have officially spiraled out of control, and honestly, it is time someone finally calls out the madness. People are talking like this guy is an absolute bust whose entire NFL career is on the line right now in 2026. But are we really ready to write off a former top 10 pick who fought through a broken foot before he even hits year 3? If you love unfiltered football talk, hit that like button, share this video with a fellow fan, and subscribe right now to never miss an update. The narrative train surrounding Odunze this entire offseason has gone off the rails, moving straight from cautious concern into pure hysteria. Major beat writers across the sports media landscape, including respected analysts like Kevin Fishbane from The Athletic, have recently put out pieces singling out Odunze as the single player on the entire roster with the absolute most at stake heading into the season. Has the football world completely lost its mind? Or are we just so obsessed with instant gratification that we forgot how NFL player development actually works? Look at the arguments being thrown around. People love to point out that he was selected just 8 picks after franchise quarterback Caleb Williams, carrying massive expectations on his shoulders from day one. They acknowledge that he showed incredible promise early in his rookie year, but then they immediately hyper-focus on his sophomore campaign being hampered by a nagging foot fracture and a few uncharacteristic dropped passes. Then came the comments from Odunze himself earlier this offseason that sent panic through the fan base. When asked if his foot felt back to normal, he openly admitted that dealing with a bone fracture leaves calluses and shifts the structural layout of the foot, calling it his new normal, and comparing the adjustment process to coming off an ACL tear. When fans heard the phrase, "new normal," people panicked. They assumed his explosive speed was gone forever, and that he would never be the game-changing threat we saw during his dominant college days. Is there pressure on Odunze? Of course there is. When you are taken in the top 10 of the NFL draft, you are expected to become a superstar. But to claim that no player on the team has more on the line in 2026 than Rome Odunze is a massive stretch. Let us put some actual facts on the table. Consider this mind-boggling piece of franchise history. This team has not signed a multi-year contract extension with a wide receiver they personally drafted since Earl Bennett all the way back in 2011. Think about how absurd that is. Over 15 years have passed without a single homegrown draft pick at wide receiver earning a long-term second contract with the team. Shout out to Earl Bennett for holding down that crown for over a decade, but that stat highlights just how rare long-term stability at the position has been in this city. Because of that history, people think Odunze is under immense pressure to break the curse right now. But what is the rush? From a business standpoint, there is absolutely zero reason for the front office or Odunze to panic. He is entering year 3 of his rookie contract. He is not even eligible for an extension until next off-season. Even when next year arrives, the team still holds the 4th year of his rookie deal in 2027, plus the safety net of a 5th-year option for 2028. They have years of contractual control remaining. Unless Odunze gets traded in some unimaginable, earth-shattering blockbuster deal, there is virtually zero scenario where he is not on this roster next year. He is not some first-round flop who managed barely 500 total yards over 2 seasons while riding the bench. When healthy during the first month of last season, he looked like an absolute stud destined for all-pro status before the foot injury slowed him down. That brings us directly to our official question of the day, and I want everyone to drop their thoughts in the comments section below. Which receiving weapon do you believe will lead this team in total targets in 2026? Type LB for Luther Burden, RO for Rome Odunze, or CL for Colston Loveland down below and let your voice be heard. The dynamic inside this offense has shifted dramatically under head coach Ben Johnson. Johnson did not draft Odunze, he inherited him. Meanwhile, Johnson went out and drafted dynamic rookie wideout Luther Burden III and star tight end Colston Loveland, both of whom made immediate noise during off-season activities. With previous top targets moving on and target share wide open, there is a legitimate debate over who becomes the primary weapon for Caleb Williams. If your take is simply that Odunze has a lot to prove to establish himself as the undisputed number one option in Ben Johnson's system, that is a completely fair debate. But failing to claim the top target spot does not mean his career is over. In fact, having Burden, Loveland, and Odunze all producing simultaneously is the absolute dream scenario for an offensive mastermind. It forces defenses into single coverage and gives the quarterback elite options on every single dropback. Beat writers like Courtney Cronin from ESPN also listed Odunze among the top players with the most at stake, pointing out that with key targets departed, the door is wide open for him to prove his foot has fully healed without surgery. And yes, watching how his foot responds once the pads go on, the contact ramps up, and training camp reps stack up is a legitimate thing to monitor. But that applies to literally every athlete coming off a lower body injury. He went through the entire spring off-season program fully healthy while other key players were sidelined. If you want to talk about players who actually have their entire careers on the line in 2026, look across the rest of this roster. What about offensive tackle Braxton Jones, who is literally fighting for his NFL starting career at left tackle while rookie challenger Ozzie Trapilo pushes him for reps? What about cornerback Tariq Stevenson entering a true make-or-break year where his future contract depends entirely on his performance right now? Look at Kyler Gordon, who played just 5 games last season due to injuries while Odunze toughed it out through 12 games. Look at star cornerback Jalen Johnson, whose contract structure means the team could realistically move on after this season if health or performance dips. What about defensive tackle Jervin Dexter Sr. playing in a critical contract evaluation year, or running back DeAndre Swift entering the final year of his deal? What about veteran linebacker T.J. Edwards or pass rusher Deo Odunze, who could easily become cap casualties next spring if they do not perform at an elite level? The idea that Odunze is under more pressure than any of those guys is simply untrue. Everyone needs to take a deep breath and dial the panic back from 100 down to a sensible 50. Even if an explosive rookie like Luther Burden III eventually commands a huge target share, Odunze can still be an elite, highly productive secondary weapon who remains a core piece of this franchise for years to come. Expectations for Odunze this season should be straightforward: stay healthy, stay reliable, and be a big-time playmaker when his number is called. He does not need to rack up 1,300 yards to prove his worth. If he suits up for 15-plus games, hauls in 50 to 80 receptions, and puts up 700-plus receiving yards, that is a massive win for this offense. The raw talent is undeniable, the health is trending in the right direction, and the future remains blindingly bright. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button on your way out, and we will catch you all in the next one.